guys, you're welcome back to KSP level 100 second semester past question tutorials you're having. This is a part 3 of business statistics MCQs on KSB level 100 past questions, and this is perfectly solved for you. Okay, so if you're new on this channel, kindly give this channel a like. Make sure to like this video, like it 100 times, okay, so that we can get more engagement on this video. And make sure to subscribe so that I can stay connected. Anytime I release any video, you'll be the first person to get it right away. So without wasting my time, let's go to part 3 of this. We have already had the other videos, part 1 and part 2. They are in the description section of this video. You can check and then watch from there too as well. So let's continue in that light. So as I always usually say, you pause the video anytime we journey ourselves to another question. You solve it before you look at how I made a presentation on that question actually. So at the end of the day, I'm expecting you to also to comment below or type your your marks that you obtained from this MCQ in the comment section. I will know how you performed well. In that case, it's very important that you put in the comment section, okay? And make sure to like this video. Make sure to like this video, it's very important. So let's move on straight away. So as I said, we started from question 1, that's in part 1, then we end to 20, then in part 2 we started from 21 to 40. So here in part 3 we are starting from 41 to the latter part of this MCQ tutorial. So let's go on. In that case, question 41, the number of absence per year that a worker has is an example of what type of data? You have A, nominal, B, quantitative, C, discrete, and continuous. So yeah, the idea is that it's what a discrete data. So discrete data have what a value. That's a type, for example, looking at the number of children in the family, looking at the number of exercise book in a shelf. These are what we call what the discrete data. If it's to be continuous, then it's going to be within a range, like temperature is within a range 0 and 37, right? And then other, the nominal and the quantitative is not per way. We are talking about specific set of data, and that's going to put a discrete data in that case. So let's take note of that. So discrete, take note. Then question 42, what is the best average to use in the following situation? To establish a typical rate to be used by an employer in a wage negotiations for a small company of 300 employees, a few of whom are very highly paid specialists. So here, which of the average are you going to use? Arithmetic A, arithmetic B, geometric mean, C, median, and D, most. So the best average to use is what the arithmetic mean. But that will tell us the typical value or typical payment that needs to be made to highly specialized employees within that company. Okay, for geometric mean, most of the time deal with percentages. We are talking about what the average wage or salary to be paid, and you are talking about percentage. Median will be a middle value, mode will be the most, and none of these will be applicable except what the arithmetic mean that will be applicable. Alright, so it's very important that you understand in that case. So it's arithmetic mean. Let's move on. Question 43. So the same preamble. What is the best average to be used in the following situation? To ascertain the average annual income of all workers when it is known that the mean annual income of skilled workers is 4,500, whilst the mean annual income of unskilled workers is what? 3,500. So here you see we have categories. We have skilled workers who are paid what? 4,500. We have unskilled workers who are paid what? 3,500. So what do they mean here? It means that they have assigned weight to each class of workers. Those who are skilled, they are paid high. It is for 4,500, but then unskilled are paying 3,500. So it means that you have assigned weight to each employees that they have or workers that they have reading against this. And in here, the best average to use is to go for a weighted mean, because here you have assigned weight, which is the skilled and then unskilled workers. So that is the weighted mean. That will be the best option for you to go. Mean that you have assigned weight to each workers. We have those who are skilled, we have those who are unskilled. So the skilled are paid high, the unskilled are paid amount lesser than those who are paid at the higher rate. So that is a weighted mean. Take note of that. I hope you are enjoying this video, right? So continue to give this a like, very important, and comment if you are getting it right in the comment section. Right? Good. Question 44. We have to use the information to answer question 44 as 45 as I've indicated already. The ages of a sample of a quarter-inch drills available for rental at 2 rental incorporation were organized into the following frequency distribution rather. So we have ages in month and frequency in that case. So we are asked to estimate the range. So we said a range is also another way of determining the variability of what? A set of data or the spread of data. And in that range, you take into account 2 points, which is the highest value and then the lowest what value. So the difference between the 2 points will give you what we call the range. So in that sense, the range takes into account 2 values. It will actually take into account all the data values within that, all the values within that set of data. So in that range only takes what into account the higher and then the lower value of that set of data, but doesn't take into account all the values within the data set. That becomes a limitation of what a range. Alright, so here range here is simple. Range here they mean the highest value compared with the lowest what value. Alright, so the highest value in the class or in the class interval will be what? 12, right? And then the lowest will going to be what? 2. But most of the time too, you can also find the class boundary of the class, so that you can also use that approach to. So that is a higher class boundary limit compared with the lower class boundary limit. Alright, then you can get it in that case. But you can also straight away work it out if it is an ungroup data to just take the highest and the lowest, and that will give you what your range. So your range here is what? 10. So the answer is C, that is what? 10. So let's see how I made the presentation here. It's important. So as I said, the range of a set of group data is the difference between the upper class boundary, as I was saying, of the higher class and then the lower class boundary of the lowest class. So the higher class was what? 10 to 12. That was the higher class. And lower class was what? 2 to 4. So the lower class boundary is certainly going to be 2. Okay. And then the highest class boundary limit for the higher class going to 12. So the difference between the two is fetching was the range, which is what? 10. So let's take note of that. So then range, take note, 10. Alright. Estimate the sample deviation. So here the sample deviation in this case is, sample deviation, you have two approaches that you can use. We have first one, the sample deviation, where you are using summation f to bracket x minus x bar all squared or divided by what? N minus 1. You can use it to estimate the sample deviation, or you can also use this formula, which is summation f of s squared, okay, f of s squared minus summation f of x all into bracket squared, okay, divided by n or divided by n minus 1. This is another way of determining what a sample standard deviation, either the first one or this one that I made in that case. So any of them will fetch you your standard deviation. So based on which approach you're going to use, you should be able to get your sample deviation in that case. So in this video I used this formula, the formula that I used. So let's take note of that. So as I was saying, this is the formula that I used. So I first of all get a column for my age, which is here, then a column for my frequency. Then because they are in class, for me to actually estimate the sample deviation, I need to find the midpoint of what? The class. So midpoint is actually the lower class plus the upper class. So the lower class limit plus the upper class limit. When you add the 2 and divide, by 2, you should be able to get your midpoint. Or better still, the lower class limit, lower class boundary limit, and then the upper class boundary limit. When you add the 2 and divide by 2, you should be able to get what? your midpoint, and that's what I did. So you see 4 plus 6 will give me what? 10, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 plus 8 will give me 6 plus 8, this one will give me 14, and 14 divided by 2 gives me 6. So that's what actually I did to get all the values for the midpoint here. Take note. And then after that, you also get a column for your class boundary. It's very important. And then you get a column for, based on the formula, you will get a column for what? Summation f of what? X. And you get a column for summation f of s squared. So once you get a summation f of s, and you get a column for that, and also get a column for summation f of s squared. And the s squared here is the midpoint. The midpoint is very important. The midpoint. This value, midpoint. So that's where you square it and you multiply by the frequencies. Then you get these values: the 18, the 125, the 492, 324, and then 242. And then when you sum all of them, you're going to get what? 1199. Then yet you're going to get 159. Then using this formula, you should be able to substitute and then get. And remember, our total frequency was what? 23. So that was a shortcut approach to standard deviation, and that's what I used as the formula here. So when I do the substitution, I should be able to do the calculation and get what? 2.13 in that case. So let's take note of that. So that's how we go by this approach in finding standard deviation. It's very important. So let's take note of that. Then question 46, which of the following is a measure of dispersion? So you have spoken a lot about measures of dispersion. If you have been following through our discussions from part 1 of our MCQs covering part 2 and up to now, if you have been following, you can clearly see that this question wouldn't be a problem to you, because we have been discussing intensively about these measures of dispersion. Okay, so measure of dispersion, you're talking about the spread of the variability of our data. If you are still new here, let's take opportunity to explain. Talking about the spread of the variability of what? A data. So here, mean, mode, and mean, mode, and median are what? Measures of central tendency. Is only what? The variance, where is a measure of what? Dispersion. So here, the measure of dispersion here is what? Variance, or variance, sorry. Then question 47. The frequency table was constructed from a raw data. Which of the following options give a good representation of a data set? From the table here that we have, the x and the frequency. So we have x1, and so the frequency is 1, 2, and it's 2. Frequency is 2. Then x3, frequency is 3. Then s is 4, frequency is 4. You can clearly see that here, if you want to know the good representation of the options here to reflect the table here, if x is 1, then the frequency is 1. If s is 2, then frequency is 2. Likewise, 3, 3, 3. And if it is 4, then 1, 2, 3, and what? 4. You can clearly see that option. So let's say option A, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, then 4, 4, 4. What about option B? 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. But here the last part is 2, 2, but it's 4, not 2. So you can clearly see that among all these options, option A is the one that is actually making a good representation of the table above. So let's take note of that. Then question 48. Indicate which of the following statements is or are true. I. The range is a measure of dispersion, and its calculation takes into account every unit of in a data. So we said a range just take what? 2 points, the highest and the lowest value, and take the difference, and that'll give the range. It doesn't take into account. And most of the time they have always been affected extremely by what the values that actually incorporate, because you just pick these two values, so they suffer some level of, it doesn't give a good picture, a good representation of what the spread or the variability of the data, because you just take into account 2 points or 2 values in a set of data, the highest and the lowest, but that is all that they actually take into the account. I hope that's clear. So it's actually don't take into account every unit, and that is a false statement, so it's not true. Then II, the mean is always unique, and that is always unique. That is, a set of data has one and only one mean, and this is true because always the mean is only one, and one mean is going to get for any set of data, and mean always take into account all the elements in data set. Then you get it. Then I, so I is true, so you have had that one. Then I. When we plot class frequency, that's vertical axis, against class mass, we obtain a graph known as OGIF. That is first statement, because for you to get OGIF is a cumulative frequencies. When you plot against your class midpoint, you're going to get your OGIF and not class frequencies against, but rather it's a cumulative. For you to get the OGIF, it's a cumulative frequency and not just class frequencies. So let's take, so meaning that this one is first statement, this one is first statement, so it's only I that is a true statement. So here option B is the answer. So let's take note of that. Then question 49, for each of the following, determine whether a group is a sample or a population. So these are the statement that they are giving us. So here, a participant in a study of new diabetes drug. The word is what? Participant, mean part of what? A group that they are participating in the new study of for diabetes. So it's not all. So it means that it can be, you have a whole community or a whole country or a whole let's say institution in which you have selected some parts undertaking for what, or to be undertaken as a means of for studying what new diabetes in the system or in that country or in that community. So just a few of you that you have selected. So if you select few from the total group of people, then we are talking about sample. So here is what? A sample. A sample statement, right? It's a sample. This group is a sample group. And then B, all drivers who receive, the word is what? All. Even if you don't know anything about a population, the statement here or the word the all, meaning that we have taken into account all members within that group. So all the drivers who received what? A speeding ticket in Kumasi City last month. So here is going to be what? A population, because we are taking into account all the drivers. Population. So let's take into account population. So that is population in that case. So let's take note of that. Then question 50, we are asked to find the numerical difference between the mean and the median of the following numbers. So to find the median from our group data, just sum up all these numbers, 27 plus 41 plus 32 plus 14 plus 11, and divide by, it is what? Let's see, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 5, so we divide by 5 and it gets your mean. By median, just arrange them in order, in ascending order. So going to be 11, 14, 14, then 27, 32, and then 41. And here I have two sets of here, I have two sets here. So the mean is going to be that the median is going to be 27. And when you calculate the mean, you should be able to then take the difference between the two and get your numerical value in that case. So let's see what I've done here. So as I said, so when I sum up all, I had the mean to what? Divide by 5, I had the mean to 25, and then the median to have what? 27. So the difference between 27 and 25 should give you what? The numerical value, which is what? 2. And that was what? Option C. That is the correct answer. So take note of that. So let's move on. I hope you are getting it right bit by bit. Okay, so if you are getting it, comment below and make sure if you are currently joining this discussion, make sure to like this video, and then you can even go back and watch. Actually, we are just premiering it so that you can get the benefit. Okay, so take note. So here, let's continue. Question 51. Given that P of X is equal to 0.3 and then P probability of X slash Y is equal to 0.15, find the probability of find probability of X intersection what? Y. And remember, when you are having something like this and you are thinking about a conditional probability, which says that probability of X slash y will occur is equal to probability of what? X intersection y over probability that y has already what? Occurred. I hope that is clear. So here's a conditional probability statement. Then you do your substitution in that case. So let's see actually how I made the presentation. So it actually was y. Okay, I was using x as y, so is this. So here there was some kind of typing error, so but the same thing. Don't worry. So here is y. So y slash x is going to be probability of what? X intersection y over probability of x. So we want to solve a probability of what? X intersection y. So just make x intersection y that I've indicated with the red, the subject, and then when you manipulate the result, you should be able to get your probability of x intersection y, and that will give you 0.045 in that case. So that's option what? A. And I've said that this is a conditional what? Probability. I indicated a conditional probability. Conditional probability. Take note. Alright, so that's how we go by condition. But now I've explained, I have a video on probability as probability part 4. I've explained detailedly about conditional probabilities. You can also check, they are on the description section of this video. You can check and then study there too, so to get it much more better. Here we're just going through some questions on these applications that we have, this theory that we have learned. Okay, so that is what we are looking at in that case, so take note of that. Then question 52, in a negatively skewed distribution, we are saying that this my distribution, let's say I have my, so this is my x, this is my y, so this is my distribution. You see, when I'm heading towards to the negative side, I'm heading towards to the negative side where the arrow is showing, the red arrow is showing. It's heading towards the negative side, and we are saying that in the skewed distribution, or in distribution, normal distribution, and in skewness, always the distribution will take into account, the one that will cause the two distribution to be equal is always what? The mode. And then the median will follow suit in that case. So it's going to be the median, and then the mean is going to be something like this, the mean. Okay, so you can clearly see that from this diagram, you can clearly see that since the direction is heading towards to the negative side, meaning that the mean will have whatever that is less than the median, and at the same time the median will also be less than what? The mode. So in a negative skew distribution, when it's moving to the left side of what? The graph table, that's moving to the negative side or the negative direction, always the mean is smaller or less than what? The median. So here option B is true. Option B is what? True. The mean is smaller than what? The median, based on the illustration that I gave in that case. So let's take note of that. It's also very true. The opposite is also very true. In a positively skewed distribution, means that the distribution will be more centered to the negative side. Okay, something like this. So in that sense, you are saying that the mode always is the forex measure that will be at the apex of the distribution. It's saying that the median is going to be here, the mean is going to be here. So you see, guys, can you see that the mean, this mean will have a value because it's going to the positive side, so we'll have a value greater than what the mean and greater than what the mode in that case. So that is one thing we need to understand. So as I was saying, in a positively skewed distribution, the mean is what? Larger than what? The median. So option A is true. The mode is larger than the mean is never true. The median is smaller than the mode is never true. The median is smallest of no, it's never true. So the true statement is that the mean is what? Larger than the median. So let's take note of that. Question 54. Some articles are measured to the nearest centimeters with the following results. So that was just a statement. So we have to find the range of the distribution. We have already been finding range we said range is always the higher value or the highest value in the that's the upper class limits of the higher class or the highest class compared with the lower class limits of the lower class, right? So here you can clearly see that the range is what? 18, which is this, okay, minus 10, sorry, 8, which is this, and that will give you what? 10. So here option A is what? True. That is range. Then that is all. Then question 55. We have been given this set of data. We are asked to calculate what standard deviation. So we are calculating standard deviation from ungroup data. So to calculate standard deviation from ungroup data, it is equal to summation x minus x bar all squared, all divided by what? N. So just use this formula, and based on these variables, compute for columns, and then you get your standard. So let's see how I made a presentation here. So I had a column for x, I had a column for x minus x bar, then a column for x minus x bar squared, and then that is how come I was able to maneuver then. So here, remember the 20 here was given the question. That was the mean that the question actually gave to us. So we are going to deviate the mean from the values of x. So when I subtract 20 from 40, I'll get negative 6. 20 from 20, I'll get 0. So I'm just deviating it from. So after that, I'll find the absolute values of the deviation, and then I square it, and I square the deviation. So when I square negative 6, I get it plus 6. When I square 0, I get 0. When I square negative 4, I get 16. When I square 5, I get what? 25. When I square negative 3, I get what? 9. So to find an absolute value, or absolute value, or is to find the absolute of any value. If it is negative, let's negative, I find the absolute, it becomes what? Positive 1. But then if it is positive and I find the absolute, it still becomes what? Positive, and doesn't change to negative. So take note of that. So that's how come I produced, and at the end of the day, so I was able to come out with my formula. Then I substitute, and I had what? 5 as my standard deviation. So just follow through. Always make sure to have a column for these variables in the formula, and then you are good to go in that case. So let's take note of that. Okay, so let's move on to question 56. You have to use the information to answer question 56 and what? 57 in that case. So let's move on. So what is a median class? We are saying that median class is not going to be, or the median is going to be the middle value of that set of data, right? The middle value of that set of data. So in a group data, for you to calculate the median, all that you need to do here is to find the summation of all the frequencies. And so when you add 8 plus 14 plus 48 plus 18 plus 12, that will give you the total frequency. So here, let's see. So when I add all these, I had what? A frequency of what? 100. So you can also check, and let's see with your calculator, and let's see whether you had what? 100. So once you get 100, median means half of what? That set of data. So half of 100 is going to give you what? 50. So 50 position. So when you add the frequencies of each class, that will fetch you 50. Or the latter frequency, that will, when you add from each class, that will get you the 50 position is going to be your median class as per the requirements of the question. So here, when I add 8 plus 14, I'm going to get 22. So it means that for me to get the 50 position, is going to be in the class of what? 22 or 29. It's going to be in this class. That is the third class. Take note of that. So my median class my median class is what? B. That is 2029, because it is what? 100 divided by 2. I'm going to get what? 50. So that's 50 position. So for me to get that means that I need to add, in ascending order, add the frequencies up to 50, right? So once I get the 50, the class in which that I was able to get the 50 position, that will be my median class in this case. So let's take note of that. Then question 57, what is the probability that an inhabitant selected at random from the township was at least 30 years old? So at least means a number and what? Above. And above that number, okay? A number and above. So it means that the at least here, in this case, is going to be 30 years, so 30 and not above. So we are going to sum up all the frequencies right from 30 and above for 30. We're going to sum all of them up. So it's going to be what? 18 plus what? 12. So it becomes 18 plus 12. So it becomes what? 18 plus 12 and divided by a total what? Frequency is what? 100. That's how you find the probability in this case. So it's going to be 30 divided by what? 100, and 30 divided by 100 is going to be what? In decimal is going to be 0.43. So option D is the right answer for this question in this case. So this is where we bring an end to our journey right from part 1 up to part 3 of discussion of solving some of the business mathematics questions. Business statistics questions from KSB School of, that's Kenya School of Business on this channel. This is where we bring an end to it. So if you really enjoy this video, please consider to like this video and comment, and type your marks that you obtained from this video, or the marks in the comment section, so that I will know your performance in that case. So I will see you next time. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time, where I come away with other helpful tutorials to help you to advance on your journey to become successful in your academy. So thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.